When life annoys, top up your joy. I should just take my joy, shouldn't I?
Mr. Adam Cook,
Hmm.
you may be playing things about happy people, but are you happy about it? Are you happy about we happy few?
I don't know is the answer. That's
Interesting.
I don't know. I mean, how this is going to be a really weird video. Because
What is it? Because to me,
it's a survival game.
who
Yeah,
saw it
Yep.
at E3 or
Oh
whatever
yeah,
it
you
was
were
when
sat
it
there
got
watching it, weren't you?
the trailer. I didn't play it, but I did see the trailer. It looked
Yep.
really cool, and to me, it looked like maybe a slightly more active point and click. So just a little bit. So it wouldn't be that long. To me, the impression I got it'd be about 4 hours. Wouldn't be that long. More of a horror, something like Resident Evil 7, but with a bit more colour. So it's like quick,
No,
a bit
can
more
be- can
active
be-
than your regular point
no.
and click. But that's the impression I got.
No, you can be more wrong.
I tell you what,
honestly.
it made
go
me
on.
remind me of the BioShock DLC that they did
Okay.
with Elizabeth. You know, where
Yeah,
it was
I
back
mean,
in
there's
Rapture,
been a lot
whatever
of
it was,
talk about that.
Come on then, finish up.
But
There's-
it's not.
No, it's not at all. There's been a lot of talk about that, and I think as much as they're out there saying, it's early access, which, by the way, just for the record, what I should state right away, I think, as far as I'm aware, it's like alpha, and it is super early access, like it is. It's like not even close to optimized. It's just, this is not the full game. This is genuine early access. Why they've gone that route, that's up to them. There's an issue with people thinking that it's a BioShock game. What you saw at E3 was very BioShocky. Like it's got the similar art style, it's got the vibe of BioShock to it. That is the prologue to the game. I believe it is one of potentially 3, because there are 3 playable characters. After that, and whether this is how it happens in the final game, you're thrown out into the real world, and this is basically a survival game. Similar, I guess, to a game like The Long Dark, where you have to manage your endurance, basically. You've got hunger meter, you've got thirst meter, you've got sleep meter, or tiredness I should say, you've got a stamina bar, like in say Dying Light or something. When you run, you run out of stamina. And I'm trying to think which game it was, because I don't think it was Dying Light, but there's a game where the more sort of beaten up you get, or the more tired you get, your stamina bar actually is smaller. It's all of those things. It is a survival game. It's a game where you have to scavenge for things. That's what this is. Like, whether that's
What
people
environment are
expected.
you in then, when all these things matter?
I
if you
mean,
get me?
that's the
'Cause it
thing.
looked like
Apparently,
it'd just be
apparently there's 50% of the environment is complete at the moment, because it's procedurally generated, and it is there's permadeath. It's like a roguelike.
Okay, this is getting weirder and weirder the more you talk about it. 'Cause I thought it'd be like a story-driven short game that's about society, that'll have obviously obvious like connotations and links and whatnot to actual society and that type of thing, like a dystopia that talks so much about our current state of affairs. But I don't know how story-driven it's going to be with how you're talking about it.
From what I gather, I think there's going to be a heavy this could turn into something quite special if what I think is happening. Like, there are loading screens, for example, that have signs up saying like "Don't let the black dog in." Now that's a reference to I forget the quote, but the black dog on my shoulder is a way of, that's a description of depression, and I wonder if that, I mean, it kind of would make sense thematically from that prologue, that everyone takes these pills that stops them being a downer. Like, it's very impactful to see the scene where you're beating the piñata. And obviously it's actually a rat, because the drugs are making you see things in a positive light. After that prologue, you are out into the world with all the downers.
Does everything look shit when you're in this world of downers, if you get me? Because you're not on your tablets.
Yeah, it's dilapidated, like
Right.
buildings are falling apart, the people are kind of all like they're all kind of thin anyway, but they're kind of like ripped clothes, torn to pieces, and like some are aggressive. There's like people put traps in their houses. Like there's one house I went in where there's like a trap that's just a string with a load of pots and pans, so you can duck under the first one because it's a string, but the second one is like pots and pans, so you can't get underneath it without making noise. So the idea is that you come back and you dismantle the trap and you can still get all the stuff, because it's a sort of like almost like a Bethesda style. Go to a chest of drawers, press X, empty all the stuff, and you craft stuff from that. Like you craft lock picks and stuff. The combat is very much Elder Scrolls-y, like first person melee.
I was going to ask.
And yeah,
How good?
again, it's not. it's early access. Like, I don't want to judge that. It's not fair to judge that. They're very clear. But the first thing you see when you load it is a screen explaining that it's early access. They're very keen to say that.
Yeah.
It's it's like there's quests like, oh, all right, so go to place A, and the only thing is at the moment I feel like some of the kind of real worldy things like the hunger, the thirst are slightly making it a damper experience, because I think in some of the Long Dark it makes perfect sense that you're out in the whole game feels built around it. But after the prologue in this, the idea that I'm off trying to do quests, but now I have to go back to my bed and sleep because and it's again it's like Bethesda, like how many hours do you want to sleep for? So you sleep for as long as you want or short as you want, and you go back and you start, I've got to find this to do that quest, and then I do that quest which opens up 3 more quests, and it's that.
Are there night and day cycles in it?
Yeah, it gets dark, and apparently dark is like the threatening time.
Well, that's what I just never play in the dark in that game then.
Yeah, I mean, and I got to like I finished what I think was like a main quest and got back onto it. Again, it's weird because there's like a loading screen, which when I got the other side of it, it felt like I just moved forward a bit, but it had to load the environment in. Again, early access.
What do the quests consist of? What are you doing in these quests?
I mean, a lot of them involve collecting things or crafting things to enable you to get places. It's kind of standard open world first person RPG stuff. I don't know what the game is at the moment. At the moment, it's an exploration game, very similar to, like, say, the Long Dark, where you're going around this environment, and they say, like, only half of the 50% there are the environments, and like you got permadeath, and you can turn that off and have second wind sort of stuff. The combat, it doesn't feel great at the moment, but I don't think you're supposed to be in combat that much. It doesn't. Again, it feels like the Long Dark in that respect.
Do you think it'll be a good story?
I think the prologue sets the game up, or sets a game up very well. It's just after that it becomes a different game. But that could be the early access thing. There apparently is a story. There are 3 different stories, I would imagine, because there's 3 characters. But I don't. It's interesting. I don't think this is like a game that and it's out of early access in 2016. This is definitely next year. I would say like 100%,
okay.
And I would say late next year. Like it feels like an alpha. It does, and to that end, it feels like there is definitely some promise here. I mean, there's so much that needs work, like the incidental dialogue. You can talk to practically anyone, and a bit like in The Witcher, where there's like main people who have proper conversations, and other people who will just like say one-liners. There's that in here. So there's one character I found that just every time I tried to talk to him, he just goes "fuck off," like in a sort of Cockney accent, and like I found that highly amusing, and I don't think it's supposed to be, and I just I'd go up to him again and just say, is he going to say "fuck off"? All right, okay, I get it. I get what this is. It's interesting. I'm not sure it's ready for public consumption, actually, if I'm honest with you. Like the intro is, like the opening, that prologue is great, but it's just a completely different game to what then comes after it. So in that respect, I'm not sure it's quite ready to be played. Which I suppose if you're in early access and you're buying an early access game, you know that. So there you go.
Right, well, if you ever want to keep up to date with We Happy Few and loads of other games in this world of video games, please go over to GodisaGeek.com, go over to YouTube.com/GodisaGeek, where you presumably are, to watch even more videos on games, and of course you can go over to Patreon.com/GodisaGeek if you'd like to throw our beloved website a couple of quid to help us keep us going. Thank you very much. Stay happy.
Should have backed the GodisaGeek Patreon.